Greetings, Candice Sanderson, author of The Reluctant Messenger. What I wanted to do today was to share with you a meditation experience that I had at Goddess I Am, which is a wonderful metaphysical shop here in Naples, Florida. This happened on February 15th of this year, 2019. I arrived early for the meditation, about 30 minutes early. I like to get to meditations early so I can just find a space to settle in and quiet my mind. But as soon as I sat down, just within moments, the magic started to happen. And I saw in my mind's eye this very deep well that actually took up the entire space at Goddess I Am. And in my mind's eye, as I looked deep into this well, I realized it was filled with a very, very dark substance. And then I started hearing a lot of puns, if you will, about wells, like this well is a wellspring of wellness, a deep well of well-being, and well-being comes from within. And then the actual messages started. And the first message was, shall you not dip into this well? It is from source. Be not distracted by the comings and goings around you. Look deep within and find that small spark at the source. Like a diamond, the spark refracts light. Find the light within. Let your light shine where there might appear that there is no light. There is always light. Let your wellspring of wellness burst forth like water from a dam. Allow wellness to wash over you and cleanse you, to brighten your inner star. Allow goodness to permeate your mind, your soul. Now, as these words entered my awareness, I started experiencing this heat wave that started at the top of my head and it just cascaded down my body until it reached my feet. And it didn't stop there. I felt the energy leave the soles of my feet and go through the floor and into the earth. I could tell that the energy continued until it reached the very center of the earth. And I felt like that I looked like a volcano. What had been my physical body was now like smoldering ashes. Then as these ashes or cinders left my energy body, they started infiltrating the rest of the air. And what had been my body now began to glow. And I realized that this burning away was the burning away of older energy and making way for new growth. What shone forth was my new body. My carbon-based body had been replaced by a crystalline structure. And then the message continued. As we connect with, it is the heat of the energy exchange. It is the heat of transformation. It is the heat of transmutation. So what happens is, as we connect with everything that is around us, we open ourselves to the darkness of the void, which was what I must have seen, that dark matter when I looked into the well. And as we dive into this well of darkness, we become one with the primordial sea of creation, of nothing but full potential. This is where manifestation actually occurs. It's an interdimensional space between various other states of awareness. The message continued. Be of clear mind. Be of clear spirit. Be of clear intent. And as I heard those words, I began to actually understand that these were the prerequisites for manifestation. My initial vision, as I looked into this well, at the very deep, very center of the well was a tiny spark. And then this began to make sense. It's like, this is where we needed guidance to shine forth within the dark shadows of potential. We need clarity of purpose to shine forth into these yet unmanifested energies. But it all begins with being grounded, being centered and being balanced. My vision then returned to that very opening scene that I had of the well. And as almost like on cue, that tiny spark at the very bottom of the well began to glimmer. And you could tell, I mean, it felt like it was like miles away. There was just deep, deep darkness, this dark abyss. But there was a tiny glimmer, and it started to, become alive. And then what I realized, coming from that beautiful tiny spark, was this vine that started to snake up toward where I stood. And it continued growing past the mouth of the opening of the well. And then it stopped. And then as I watched, then leaves began to grow. And what had been this muddy, slick vine morphed into a beautiful branch, and then a bud formed. And it was interesting to watch it. It looked like a time-lapsed movie where the bud formed and you could just see it slowly open. And I realized that this was an enormous red rose, and it was birthed from the primordial waters from below. Then I saw these like delicate petals that bloomed into nothing but absolute magnificent. And I could actually smell the fragrance of roses throughout the room. I felt humbled, and there was just this sense of awe that washed over me. Now, what was interesting, not too long after this, I had another meditation at Church of Spiritual Light, where a lotus blossom transformed into a red rosebud. So I need to pay attention to what roses mean, because they're certainly part of my experiences lately. And then I also realized that the very first message that I ever received back in 2013 was a message about a flower, and that a flower was a flower of energy. And we are like flowers. We are like flowers. We are flowers of energy. And as we learn to fine-tune our awareness apparatus, whatever it is we use to absorb this new energy coming in, we have our entire path in front of us. Will we choose the path of wisdom? Will we see the light? Are we the light? And I guess only time will tell. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. If you feel so inclined, please subscribe. Goodbye.